because
All right.
I might go through this one. They're the same ones, but
Yeah.
they should be good. Let's see. I'm going to pull up. I meant to share that.
Oh man, I almost got that the other day. I saw they have one
Maybe a
that's
sneak peek.
Sweet Baby peanut butter or something.
Yes. And I almost
Yeah.
grabbed that one, but then I saw the Java.
I had the Sweet Baby Jesus like 6 or 7 years ago. I don't think they make it anymore because they got so much flack about it.
There.
Yep.
All right. Okay, we're recording. Let's go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I am Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean Oso McCool.
Oso. It feels like a lifetime ago since our last episode.
Yeah, it's been probably a solid month, that's for sure. So it's been
3 weeks since our last. I think it's 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. So we're back at it. We got a juicy episode today. Like this has got some meat on the bone today.
A lot of meat.
Yeah.
Lots of meats.
So
a 93-year-old persuasion secret still being used by some of the top influencers today. We got a stack of stuff, people.
Oh no. you cut out a little bit.
Did I really?
I don't know which one it was.
Oh, okay.
I don't see any flags on my end, little bars or anything. So
you see me?
Either way, I see you.
Now? Okay.
I see you.
All right.
You're a little dark, but other than that, in your room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, need to brighten things up a little. So yeah, the 93-year-old persuasion secret still being used by top influencers today. We've got some really good stuff we're going to get into, along with some nice little some nice brewskis, which annoy some of our audience, but we got to cover the bases first, man.
That's right. And we're going to have a little pop quiz too, right after the drinks. So
Absolutely.
Be ready. Put on your thinking caps, as we used to say back in the day, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cinch them down tight because we got especially for all the copywriters out there, this is a little bit of a test for you today. So be ready.
Right.
Be ready.
Stay away from the chat GPT. All right. You got to use your own thinking caps today.
That's right. Yeah. No cheating.
That's right.
This is a closed book test, not an open book test. All right. Well, what do you have over there in those parts as far as your beverage?
We have a little Sweet Baby Java today on the show.
Sweet Baby Java.
Where has this been all your life? I love it. It's a really nice play on words.
Yeah. So this brand's been around a while. I remember I first saw this as Sweet Baby Jesus.
Yep.
About 7 or 8 years ago up in Northern Virginia, at one of the Wegmans or whatever it's called up there, the big fancy stores, grocery stores they have.
Yep.
So I think they got rid of that because it was so like people were trying to boycott the name because it was Sweet Baby Jesus, and I think it was the coffee one, so it might be actually this one that they changed. But now they have a whole line of Sweet Baby whatever. So
yeah, this one caught my attention when it said Java. So it's got espresso bean infused chocolate peanut butter porter. It is their single best-selling beer of all time. Sweet Baby Jesus chocolate peanut butter porter, hop gun with cold steeped whole bean espresso to infuse its iconic lightly sweet chocolate and peanut butter.
Nice.
We're both huge fans of chocolate and peanut butter, and then we throw in a little espresso with that. Whew, man, it's like and then you bump up the ABV to about 6.2, which probably that's perfect for this one.
Yeah. When is Reese's going to come out with a Java Reese's?
Exactly.
A little shot of espresso in a Reese's cup.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Game over.
Man, I love royalties on that one. I know they listen. So
I know. You see, companies like these guys, Dunkin' partnering up every now and then for a limited release.
I mean, Taco Bell's the king of that kind of stuff, right? I mean, they would do it in a heartbeat. Doritos, tacos, and all the different things, Cinnabon stuff. Anyway, that looks good.
Yes, it looks amazing. And I have to confess, I've already had this because I actually bought it for last week and thinking we were going to do a show. And I did save a couple of them for this episode, but I wasn't going to let that whole 6-pack just sit there.
Yeah. No, why would you do that? Right. So, all right. Well, on my end, I have got, since by the time this episode releases into the wild, it will be a day before Valentine's Day or so. So I was walking through the old HEB last night and came across some dark romance. From Austin Beer Works. So
they put that in a little heart box.
Yeah. Or a little blue Tiffany box. Yeah. So this says, like a shot from Cupid's arrow, dark romance will fill you with uncontrollable desire. Rich chocolate and bright cherry are star-crossed lovers doing a forbidden dance on your tongue. It's love at first sip. So 45 IBUs. I've never seen this on the chart before. 22 starting gravity, 6p final gravity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 9 ABV. So
that's all I saw is the 9.
The 9 ABV. Yeah. So this is Austin Beer Works, probably one of the biggest breweries here in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Oh, that looks really good. Yeah, that looks really good.
I'm excited to try it. Got it. Let me close that screen. Yeah. So got my porter glass. So go ahead and cheers it up.
I've got my Guinness glass, but that's all right. Cheers. Oh, that was too weak. Let's try that again.
There we go.
Like I said, I already know what mine's going to be, so I'll let you go first. I mean,
So that was interesting because, it shows a 45 IBU, and I taste it. Like it's weird. It's got a little bit of even though it's a cherry porter, maybe it's the cherry that's causing it to be a little bit bitter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely got a little bit of that IPA bitterness, not a lot, but a little bit. So, or the sour, maybe it's like a cherry sour. Yeah. It's got that little bit of sour to it. So for that reason, I'm going to give it, that brings the score down a little bit in my taste buds. So I'm going to go 3. Just do a flat 3.
Flat 3. Okay.
We'll see if it just came out of the can, so we'll see if that eases up over the course of the show. But right now it's a 3. A little too bitter for me right at the front.
Okay.
And what's yours?
So I've thought about this already. I'm going to give this one a 4.8.
Yeah. That's one that definitely gets better as it airs out.
It's strong. Yeah, it's strong. And it would probably get a 5 if I continued to sip this. And I've got a second one sitting over here beside me because we'll probably have a lengthy episode today. So I've come well prepared.
Yeah, that second one will definitely get a 5. Second beer is always better than the first.
So I could say 4.8-25, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But so it's excellent.
It's like beer. The second and third beer is like the best beer. Then after that, the taste buds are gone. Yeah. Coffee, it's like the first sip, right? That's like the magic. But beer, it's like a couple sips and you kind of get used to it and all that. So
yeah.
All right.
It does have that, you can taste the espresso. So if you're not an espresso, if espresso is a little strong for you, that bite, that aftertaste bite that you get from espresso sometimes, if that's not your thing, then you might not like this, but I love it. So
well, so let's do it this way. I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. So we're ready to jump into the show. So I'm gonna put that there. All right. So for those of you watching on the old tubes, the YouTubes, we're talking about the 93-year-old persuasion secret still being used by today's top influencers. And I thought we'd start off, Jonathan. I got this from a PDF that I believe comes from Matt Basak, It's called the Forbidden Knowledge Archive.
Okay.
It's by Matt Basak and Brother Mesmer.
I hadn't heard Matt's name in forever.
I know. Like, I don't even know. He retired like 16 times. So I don't know if he's retired or not right now. But yeah, we're gonna kind of go through. We're gonna pick and choose some things from this great thing. I don't know if you can still find it, but it's called the Forbidden Knowledge Archive.
Yep.
And it was like 5 or 6 PDFs, and I was digging through my digital file cabinet, stumbled across it looking for show ideas, and here we are. And really what this is about is all the different persuasion techniques that great speakers use. And his point in this PDF was these still work today, and they work really, really well on video. So this is kind of a more of a like how you put together a speech or a talk that you might do on video. It could be these work for commercials.
Sure.
And we'll get a little bit more into that in the second part of the show. But in this first part, I thought we'd do a little pop quiz.
Okay.
Especially for our copywriters and our linguists in the group.
Yeah.
So we'll start out with the first one. Because I was going through, I use a lot of these, but I did not know what they were called. So I'll just be honest. If you gave me this pop quiz 3 days ago, I would have failed miserably. So the first one is kind of a freebie for those alliteration.
Yeah.
You know what that one is? That is the repetition of the same letter or sound with nearby words, usually consonants. So an example is, why not waste a wild weekend at Westmore Water Park?
Yeah.
Coca-Cola is also
a lot of
famous alliteration and logos and company names.
A lot of taglines use alliterations. So.
Yeah, that's one of the most common, well-known. Then the next 11 or so are a little tougher.
Illusion, not to be confused with illusion.
Right. This is illusion with an A. And ironically, all these start with an A. So illusion. Now, this one I knew, but I knew it. You most often hear it in a biblical allusion sense, right? So an allusion is just a reference to a literary work that is like a famous literary work, whether it's the Bible, whether it's, the Odyssey, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey type. Those are referenced a lot, those kind of things. An example was from President George W. Bush inaugural address. I can pledge our nation to a goal when we see that wounded traveler on the road to Jericho, we will not pass to the other side, which is an allusion to the Good Samaritan story in the Bible.
Sure. Right.
And the idea is you want to use these because they're such time-tested stories that are so ingrained in the public that it carries a lot of weight when you throw it into a speech or into copy.
So you don't have to mention the stories.
No, they're so powerful that you shouldn't have to.
Yeah, it's more of an indirect reference where you don't even have to mention, like you just said, the parable.
Right.
But most people are so familiar with it that, when you indirectly reference it, they're like, oh, okay. They understand.
Yeah. So if you were, not every audience will get, you do have to know your audience a little bit, but
sure.
One I see a lot is like the Song of the Sirens. It's like the pull of the Song of the Sirens. That's to Odysseus on his journey when he goes by the island and the sirens are singing and they lure him over to the island. So that kind of thing. Those are all types of illusions. So this I'm going to try to say this one. Anadiplosis, I'm guessing. Anadiplosis?
No clue. No clue.
So this one's interesting. I have used this a lot in copywriting, but I had no idea that's what. And this is one of the things that really speeds up and makes your copy read better. And it's funny because I edit this into people's copy all the time. Anadiplosis, but I didn't know what it was called. So I'm copy chief in the team right now, and for the next 12 days, they're getting one of these words a day. They don't know it yet. They're going to get one of these words a day.
Oh, that's great.
Just to kind of play with their heads. And then at the beginning of the day, and then, they'll Google it and find it out. But So this is the repetition of the last word or phrase from the previous line used at the beginning of the next. Right. So an example is you see it a lot in poetry, but you also see it in really good copy. So here's an example from Shakespeare. The love of wicked men converts to fear, that fear to hate, and hate turns one or both to worthy danger and deserved death. So when you pull, so in this case, the word fear, right? The love of wicked men converts to fear, new line, that fear to hate.
Right.
So you pull that forward. And if you do this in your copy, it really makes everything read faster. Because you pull the reader along, and it a lot of writers will jump ideas without bringing the reader along, because in their head they think the ideas are connected, and they're not always as clearly connected as the writer thinks when they're writing it out. So it just really helps pull the connection and not leave the reader behind.
Right.
Analogy is pretty familiar. That's where you're just comparison. So we won't go into that one. Anaphora. So ANAPHORA. Anaphora sounds like a fear of some kind. I don't know. That's not what this is. It's the repetition of the same word or group of words at the beginning of successive clauses, sentences, or lines. We're all very familiar with this. We just don't know what it was called. The most famous example is I have a dream.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's used several times. I was thinking the Bible, you see that a lot in the Bible.
Yeah, and in pastors, pastors a lot of times, I mean, songwriting, you use this in songwriting a lot in courses, right? You kind of repeat that thing. But yeah, you'll see this a lot. We're actually going to be doing an example of this in the next segment, where we'll talk about kind of how all these can weave together and create a really strong presentation. Sure. So yeah, it's like I have a dream. It's anytime you're repeating that kind of stuff and at the beginning of your phrases. Really good preachers will use this a lot.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And good speech writers will use this.
It helps to emphasize the message. I mean, you're reinforcing it when you go back to it time and time again.
So anesis, ANESIS. This is adding a concluding sentence that diminishes the effect of what has been said. So this is interesting. I don't use this one very much. So I don't know that I've really ever used it, but I can see where you would use it in a speech. So here's the example phrase. She had set more track records than any woman in the country. She had more stamina, skill, and perseverance than many of the best. So that's the first part of the phrase. Now here's where the anesis kicks in. But she had her broken leg and would not be competing this year. So it's kind of this, you create this contrast, like you're building it up and then you take it away.
Sure.
It's almost like a takeaway close or something, I guess we could say. This next word, number 7, you want to try that? Metabole? Anti-metabole?
Yeah. It's just too many.
It's kind of like hyperbole. So
metabole.
Something like that.
Antimetabole.
Yeah, because the last part is like hyperbole.
Yeah.
So metabole. Yeah. So it looks like anti-meta-bole is what it looks like if you're not in front of the computer screen here. So it's a repetition of words in successive clauses in reverse grammatical order, also known as chiasmus. Now, you've probably used this. Some of the catchiest phrases we know in history use this. So here's one of the most popular. When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
That's right.
So in the first part, it's going and then tough, and the second, tough and going. Another famous one is ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Okay.
So it's just flipping that first phrase to drive home a point.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad we don't like we use these things in our work and things like that? Aren't you glad we don't have to know the names?
I'm telling you, I had no clue. Like almost all of these.
I know, it's crazy. It's so the next one is antithesis. We've heard that word.
Yep.
So what is it? It's the juxtaposition of contrasting words or ideas, often but not always in parallel structure.
Right.
So the example is, it has been my experience that folks who have no voices have very few virtues. No vices have very few virtues. So the juxtaposition is vices and virtues. Another one is, it can't be wrong if it feels so right.
Right.
I think you hear antithesis. See, I can't even say it when I'm
antithesis.
Antithesis a lot in country songs too.
Yeah.
They use that play on words a lot in country songs.
Yep.
Couple more. So aposiopesis. I have no idea how to say that one. I should have done a little Google search and hit the little microphone or the speaker button.
Oh yeah, to hear it pronounced.
So breaking off suddenly in the middle of speaking, usually to portray being overcome with emotion. So this one's going to be hard to read. Well, I could read it. It's like, this is from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beast, and men have lost the reason. Bear with me. Pause. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me. So it's that dramatic pause is all it is.
To emphasize. You see this really good speakers.
Yeah, really good speakers will absolutely
know how to just use that dramatic pause for effect.
Yeah,
just some of the best speeches that you'll ever hear.
And then appositio, it is addition of an adjacent coordinate, explanatory, or descriptive element. I'm sure that cleared things right up. So here's the example. Albert Einstein, perhaps the greatest of scientists, seemed not to have mastered the physics of hair combing. So it's where you kind of contrast their greatness with something else. It's like a limiting thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're contrasting descriptive elements. Assonance, so spelled very much like resonance, but assonance. This is a repetition. So this is very much like alliteration, but it's vowel sounds instead of consonants.
Ah, okay.
So repetition of similar vowel sounds preceded and followed by different consonants. The example, which I didn't think was very good, the sergeant asked him to bomb the lawn with hot spots. So I guess ah.
Yeah.
All right. There's an O in the bomb. AW sounds kind of like O. You got hot spots, which has two O's. So that's where so it's like alliteration, but with vowels is the easiest way. And the last one, some of you are dying, I'm sure. I think these are fascinating, especially because we use them so much, we don't even know what they're called. It's probably a whole lesson in itself right there.
Ascendant. Assigned.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know. Ascenditon.
Who cares? You see the word. You people with the video,
you
can see the word up there.
It's probably funny listening to it. So the omission of conjunctions between clauses, often resulting in a hurried rhythm or vehement effect. So this is where if you were writing for an English essay, you would put and or conjunctions in there. The old conjunction. What's your function? You get rid of the conjunctions.
Sure.
So it's I came, I saw, I conquered, instead of I came and I saw and I conquered, right?
Yeah.
So you make it a little choppier and it gives it more weight and more power.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all that is. So that's that's segment number one. There's a lot of if you knew most of those, you should just be a guest on our show, or you're probably an English lit major.
More than likely, you're not. You've majored in English,
and nobody understands what you're saying. If you knew all, because I
think most copywriters wouldn't have a clue as what this is.
No, they have no idea what but they probably use most of them.
Oh, of course,
and that's what's kind of interesting. All right, so now let's move into the next section and reveal the actual 93-year-old persuasion secret still being used by today's top influencers. This is, where's my notes? So this was originally created in the 1930s by Alan H. Monroe, a professor at Purdue University. And it's called Monroe's Motivated Sequence. And it is a 5-step sequence that is perfect to get people to take action. And the key here is action in contrast to a speech that, like a TED Talk or something like that, that might be informing or inspiring or things like that. This one is actually designed to get people listening to take action.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through the 5 steps, and then we're going to do 2. Instead of trying to describe the steps, we're just going to do 2 different. We're going to do a speech that was very successful, and then we're going to do a TV commercial. Older nice. TV commercial.
Yeah.
So just to show the 2 different ways you could use this. So here's the 5 steps. Step number 1.
Grab the attention.
Grab the attention. That sounds pretty, that's not groundbreaking. This is going to sound very similar to AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. It's got an extra step in it, though, and that extra step could make a huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
So number 1 is to grab the attention. Number 2 is to build the need of the audience. So it's to get that need out there. So that's kind of the interest part of AIDA. The next one is satisfy that need or want, right? Give them a solution, basically. And this is really cool because in the one of the examples that we're going to show in the Obama speech that's coming up. Don't tune out. It was a good speech. It won an election and got a lot of people out to the polls. But notice how short this is in that speech when we get to it. Visualizing the results. This is the part that AIDA is missing a little bit. I mean, some people say that would be in the desire section. But visualizing the results, this is a lot more like future pacing, which we've talked about when we did Eugene Schwartz. He was really well known for the future pacing. That's really what you're doing here. And then finally, the last one is the call to action. So let's, instead of breaking these down, let's just show it in action using the speech from 2008 when Obama won the election.
Okay.
And we'll go to attention step first. Can you do a good Obama impersonation, Jonathan?
Let's see. There's something happening.
I don't think that's quite right. That was more Larry the Cable Guy, I think. I don't
know. There is something happening when men and women in Des Moines, in Davenport, in Lebanon, in Concord, come out in the snows of January to wait in lines that stretch block after block because they believe in what this country can be.
All right. So that's the attention step.
Yeah.
And it's got some story in there. It's got people lined up around the block in the snows of January. Like that's attention getting. And that's, I've got a whole list of things that, you could use here, but things that work really well in this are shocking statistics, really strong stories, anything like that in the attention step works really, really well.
Yeah.
You were doing pretty good on the impersonation there.
Really?
Yeah. You got the Lebanon quick.
Lebanon.
Quick. And then so in the need step, I'll take this one. I'm not going to try to do the voice though. So the need step, you can be the new majority who can lead this nation out of a long political darkness. Democrats, independents, and Republicans who are tired of the division and distraction. Notice a lot of the things we just talked about in the previous segment are here.
Yep.
Division and distraction that has clouded Washington, who know that we can disagree without being disagreeable, who understand that if we mobilize our voices to challenge the money and influence that stood in our way and challenge ourselves to reach for something better, there's no problem we can't solve, no destiny we cannot fulfill. There is so much of those 12 terms that we did earlier in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I can't name them, but I can point them out.
Sure.
So, no problem we can't solve, no destiny we can't fulfill. That's the one where you take out the conjunctions, right? It's shortened a little bit. Instead of and, there's just a dash.
Yep.
We've got who. So we've got that repetition. The 3 things, the pieces of repetition. We have got division and distraction. So we got a little alliteration going on there. Disagree without being disagreeable. That's both alliteration and the juxtaposition and the 2 different things. So we got a repetition again of challenge and challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Masterful speech writing here.
Absolutely.
In this section. Now, this was the thing I was talking about early, and back up here in the satisfy the need, right?
Yeah.
Like, so what is the answer to make this happen?
When I am president.
When I am president.
Yeah.
Boom. That's it. That's
next step.
That's all you need for the next step, for the solution. And when I'm president, boom. All right. So then you go straight to visualization from there, right? So the visualization in this one is, but the reason our campaign has always been different is because it's not just about what I will do as president. It's also about what you, the people who love this country, can do to change it. And this is where he gets into his most famous part of the speech, which was borrowed heavily from the I Have a Dream idea, right? This kind of thing. Yes, we can. It was the call of workers who organized, women who reached for the ballot, a president who chose the moon as our new frontier, and a king who took us to the mountaintop and pointed the way to the promised land. So these are actually forms of illusion.
Sure.
Because these are famous stories, maybe not famous literature. Although I could say that this speech by Kennedy, right, a president who chose the moon as our new frontier, is as powerful as most literary and as famous as a lot of literary works, that one speech. And then, of course, Martin Luther King, who took us to the mountaintop and pointed the way to the promised land. The promised land in and of itself is an illusion, a biblical illusion. Yes, we can to justice and equality. Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity. Yes, we can heal this nation. Yes, we can repair this world. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So lots of repeating there that yes, we can, yes, we can, yes, we can. Very hypnotic, very rhythmic there. And then the action step. And so tomorrow, we will remember that there is something happening in America. We will begin the next great chapter in America's story with 3 words that will ring from coast to coast, from sea to shining sea. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So that's that's a powerful, short little speech right there. That wasn't the entire speech. That was like the climax of the speech, I believe, that hits all those points. And you could see how if you did a commercial or something like that, or a video where you were calling your ideal customer, if you knew their pains and things like that, it could be really powerful.
Right. No, that's great.
So this one's this one's kind of cool. So I was like, well, that was pretty serious, a little bit heavy maybe. So I was like, well, how do we liven this up a little bit and show how you might use this in good old fashioned advertising? So I'm going to try to play this. I don't know if maybe you need to play it on your end for audio.
Let's see what happens when you play it. If we can hear it on our.
I'll move my microphone up to the speaker. So hold on just a second. Pull it up. Oh, actually, I already had it up. All right. Turn up the volume.
"1001 Troubleshooter Ultra is now better than ever. 1001, a magic number for carpets."
Okay, it just dawned on me that if you're listening on a podcast, that made no sense without the visuals.
You have to have the visuals. Yeah.
Yeah, the visuals are really powerful. But luckily for our listeners, I do have the script, or basically the what do you call that? The that thing. Storyboard.
Yeah, there you go.
Whew, that was tough.
How come I've never seen this commercial?
It's an old one, I think. I think it's pretty old.
Okay.
I don't know how old it is, but it was Matt's example in there. So instead of trying to find a different one, because he already broke it down, so I'm just going to steal his stuff and give you.
Sure.
So basically, what happened was, as we go through this, you'll you'll see it in your mind's eye for those of you that are just listening. So the attention step is a magic genie and a monkey in a purple suit are sitting on a magic floating carpet. The first seconds of the commercial are a close-up on the monkey's face, showing his purple hat. We are powerfully drawn to eyes and faces. This cute yet exotic monkey triggers a strong curiosity response. So you got this, and if you saw it, like there's a fat genie-looking guy. Like he's not like a sexy genie. He's like a fat, ugly genie.
Right.
No offense to that guy if he's listening, but you got cast for a reason, buddy. So like it's a little like, what's going on here? This is not like Aladdin. This is something else going on. So that's the attention grabbing step. Something's going on. And then the need step is the genie and the monkey tussle and they spill red wine and chips on the carpet, right?
Yep.
So and now they're looking at each other. The genie's upset. He banishes the monkey to the corner of the room. And then the genie closes his eyes and he calls upon his magic lamp, which is sitting off in the distance, to solve this serious situation. The lamp shakes and the carpet cleaning product appears in his hand as the solution. A magic genie, there's a lot of subliminal stuff going on here, right? A magic genie would have access to an incredibly wide range of solutions. So the implication is that this product is indeed the very best for this difficult carpet cleaning situation.
Yeah.
And it's funny how all of that is conveyed without a word being spoken, in this video. So, and then the visualization step is the genie sprays the product on the wine stain. He applies a cloth, wipes it up. The red stain is all magically gone right before our eyes. And then the last action step, having been banished to sit in the corner of the room by the genie, we see the monkey once again. Next to him, a flash of light like the earlier one appears and the carpet cleaning product emerges. Female voiceover call to action recalls the magic theme as the monkey reacts with a sound of surprise at the product's sudden mystical display. And she says, like, grab, whatever the product name was, 1001 something.
Right.
All of that in 30 seconds. Right.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. No dialogue whatsoever.
With no dialogue other than the very end, the call to action, which is the product name. They took you all the way through that 5-step motivating sequence. So that's pretty cool if you think about it. So this is an accordion type sequence that can literally make a 30-second commercial or could make an hour-long keynote.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting in the PDF. He talked about, you can see this same sequence a lot of times in 30-minute TV shows or even hour-long TV shows. A lot of times they will follow this sequence, even for entertainment, not just for sales and marketing. So it's pretty cool stuff.
That is. I love that.
A lot of stuff there. So that didn't take us as long as I thought it would take us.
No. Cool example.
So where do we go from here?
I feel like we've given our listeners a little bit of a English 101 lesson.
I don't know.
That's not 101 though.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like 301 or something. I don't know.
That's way beyond 101.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting and like I said, I find myself using a lot of this stuff. I know, you're in sales, you've read a lot of books and you kind of picked up some of these things along the way because intuitively you realize that it speaks to you and you kind of begin to recognize when people do it. Right. Whether it's people like Zig Ziglar in the past who've told great stories and used alliteration and all this stuff or whoever. But to actually have a framework and I think a lot of people that use this they're not even using this like following the script. They just intuitively have kind of come to it. But to have it as a script, not a script, but a framework to work from, and you can really up the power of any presentation that you're giving.
Oh, sure.
Because now you can go right in order. You can use some of these other, and like the first 12 things that we did, all the different apoiosis and apposado and assonance or whatever they're called, like those are good to work in the editing phase. After you get the first draft out, then you go back and work in some of those phrases, some of the alliteration, you sharpen the words up. You don't try to hit those on the first pass.
Right. Right.
Like you might get lucky and it just comes out of your pen that way, or your your typewriter, your computer keyboard, whatever you use. But the chances of you nailing all that on the first draft is pretty slim, right? So you got to go back and work that stuff in.
Yeah.
That's
good.
Have we ever gone through Bond Halbert's book, the Halbert Copywriting Method Part 3?
I don't think we ever did on Bonds.
So I think it was Bonds, wasn't
is that the one that's not the one from that he wrote from?
No, it's not the prison one. That's Gary Halbert wrote that, but this one I think is actually written by Bond. But anyway, it's called the Halbert Copywriting Method Part 3, and it's all about editing and going in and making your draft better. Really, really good book. I don't know if it would translate as well on the podcast, but that's a book people should definitely grab.
Which one is that? What's the name of it again?
I think it's called the Halbert Copywriting Method Part 3.
Okay.
It's like a 8.5 by 11 workbook style book. It's black with white font.
Okay.
It's not that long, but man, it is packed full of great advice on how to edit your copy to really polish it up and make it strong. And it has some of this kind of stuff in it where it's, put things in threes or bullet this or, all this kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure it was written by Bond Halbert instead of Gary Halbert.
You are correct. You are correct. And I have that book. I was like, do I have that book? Yes, I do have that book. Simple, fast, and easy editing formula that forces buyers to read every word of your ads.
Yep.
So I have another book that I have to pull off the shelf and
check out. Yeah, sure.
And recheck. Yeah, exactly. You should forget all this stuff. You got to go back to it.
Yeah, especially that kind of stuff where it's a little bit more tactical and not principle based. It's like, there's so many good tactics that you can use to polish up things, polish up a speech, an important email that you're sending out, to make sure, like even writing an email, to make sure it has the points that we've covered today, that it's got the attention, the need, the satisfaction, the visualization, and the call to action. It's easy to just miss one of those steps if you're just firing it off. And if you have a checklist here and there that you can flip to, like a pre-send checklist, you can make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. Bang for your buck is alliteration, by the way.
That's right. There's another example.
It's also an analogy.
Yeah,
metaphor.
You're absolutely right.
One of those things.
And I just saw it. I mean, I just looked it up. We did
do a
review this book. Okay. Episode 58 for our listeners out there. Episode 58 of Persuasion by the Pint. How to write hypnotic copy using cliffhangers, anchors, and more.
Okay. So we
Makes me want to re-listen to it.
I know, man. That sounds like a great show.
Discussing the Halbert Copywriting Method 3. And so we talked in that episode, we focused on the anchors and the cliffhangers.
Okay.
And how these are used to keep people reading.
Yeah.
Man, I got to go back through that.
They're so
good. There's so many reminders out there. You just got to, we have so much content on our website that.
Yeah. We should probably listen to it.
We should.
We should
put
definitely
all of it together.
I mean, we're so close to episode 300. We definitely need to do like a best of episode.
Yeah. No doubt.
We'll have to start digging through that and pull that together. So anyway,
we'll have some friends on.
Yeah.
To celebrate. I might even smoke a cigar here in my office.
That's a good idea. I like that. I have to open a window, but I think I can get away with that. Or go down to one of the local breweries and sit outside. I could do that too. So, well, I don't want to hold our listeners just to hold them. So I think we can probably wrap and maybe we'll do another episode. Maybe not. But yeah, I think that was a good episode. I think there's a lot of stuff. Might have to go back and listen a few times.
Can we post a link to that document, or is there?
We could share.
I know you got on Google Docs. Can we?
I can just share
access?
That. Yeah, just use the same link I sent you.
Okay.
There's nothing else on it, so.
Okay, I'll post that link on our show page. So, yeah, if you guys go to on this show, we'll post it for free to all of our listeners. Episode 294 of over at Persuasion by the Pint, and on the show page you can access it.
And I'll put at the top of the doc, I'll put that it's you can do a little searching for it. That it's from the Forbidden Knowledge Archive by Matt Basak.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do a Google search and try to find the original PDFs, you can certainly do that.
Okay.
I'm sure they're on some site somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you sent me another one, the for Forbidden Knowledge Archive, Speech Secrets, how to be a master presenter speaking in public or on the internet, which is really good.
That's this one. That's this one. I just read. Okay. I did our title a little bit different, but yeah, that's the one I sent you. Same one.
Oh, okay. Good stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, this one's just Speech Secrets, and it gets into a couple more examples. One was a YouTube video that did really well. That's in the PDF, but there's also it's worth digging up and trying to find, because he does a very thorough breakdown. I'll just show this real quick for those that are happen to watch, or if you want to go check out the video at like 46 minutes. Let me share this real quick. So stop sharing that one, present a different one, window, this one here. All right, so this is the actual PDF, and as you can see, it's like 59 pages long. So he does like a mini breakdown of the steps. Like here's step 1, and then here's step 2. But then he also does an extended breakdown. And what I like about when he gets into the really extended breakdown, where's it at? Yeah. All these up here. He gives you actual ideas here.
Okay.
That you can use to flesh out. So there's a lot of like pointers on how to do this, not just a finished product. Like this is the get attention part. He talks about some of it's almost like a grab bag that you could use, right? You could give the audience a compliment, show that the topic is urgent, make a shocking statement, arouse curiosity, tell a funny real life story, tell a dramatic real life story, ask a question, show a movie clip, play a song related to the theme. So there's lots of different ways you can grab attention, and that's it. So it gets into more of those kind of things. I was actually thinking about making a spreadsheet that was like so you could just pick your different things for people that don't know, aren't avid copywriters, but want to put this together. Because I'm coaching a lot of people right now who want to know copy, but they're not full-time copywriters. So they're never going to sit down and learn everything. Right. And sometimes templates are too fill in the blanky, and they don't really, they're hard to use actually sometimes. So anyway, so we'll put a link to the title of the PDF, but I don't want to give the PDF away because I really don't have permission to do that.
Sure.
You can dig it up on your own and steal it from wherever you think is your conscience allows.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Or maybe see if it's on Matt Basak's site somewhere, if he still has a site, or who knows what he's doing these days.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll share that with our listeners, and great example for anybody, especially doing video today, where they're doing any type of video marketing, where they're presenting a product. Definitely should use this as a blueprint for. Yeah,
you could turn this into a there's something in there that says your ideal speech is in the 6-minute range.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about that, that's a nice short 6-minute VSL, like a pre-opt-in or right after an opt-in. Use this framework that then sells your product, and you could just record a quick 5 to 6 minute video, but you're not rambling. You're just, you've got a nice framework to work with.
Sure.
So.
Good.
All right.
Well, Sean, I guess we have the big commercial event coming up on Sunday.
We do. Yes.
So we will be, I guess probably one of our episodes next week, we'll be reviewing, as we always do, some of the best of.
Yeah, I guess this would be like our 4th annual.
Our 4th annual best of and worst of commercials during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Last year was heavy crypto. I've got a feeling it's not going to be much crypto this year.
I don't imagine a lot of crypto is going to be happening. I'm not sure who the lead dogs. I'm sure it's out already, but I haven't looked yet because I don't like looking before. I want to see it in real time.
I do too. But I did hear that it's going to be heavy EV, electric vehicle ads.
Yeah.
So that will be the center spot.
That's funny because it's interesting because Jeep Wrangler came out today. There was an article about their limited edition Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392 20th anniversary edition, which is, the 392 engine. So like, the opposite of EV. Right. And it's like $115,000 for a Jeep Wrangler.
Wow.
Crazy. So
I love Jeep, but I ain't paying 115 grand.
No, not when you still get wet when they sometimes when you open the door. So look at that. We got a comment right before the show closes. Let's see what this one is.
Runaway Train.
I'm one of them, starting out in copywriting these past few months. The only big issue I have is the tech part of it that nobody teaches yet. How to work Google Docs, email lists, stuff, etc. Well, Runaway Train, there are plenty of YouTube videos that can help teach you the Google Docs. Some of the email lists. The email list stuff is tough. That's almost that's beyond copywriting. It's a great added skill if you can do it. But if your gift is words, I would
focus on what you're good at.
Yeah, because that is like outsource. List segmentation and how to run Aweber, how to run Klaviyo, or any of those machines, those tools it is a whole nother specialty in and of itself. And your highest value is going to be writing copy. Right. And there's plenty of people that need just copy, and they can get somebody on Fiverr to plug it into their stuff. So, but yeah, thanks for the comment. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess we'll wrap up now. To all of our listeners, good to be back after about a full month hiatus, but yeah, we'll be back next week. Maybe try, Sean, maybe a couple of episodes back to back, because we may do a Super Bowl ad and then something else afterward.
Yeah,
because I know that will be top of mind, and I think there'll be some good commercials. I've got a sneak peek of. I haven't watched them, but I know a few of them that are nostalgic to some degree. So
cool.
And as we've said, nostalgia always wins.
It does. It tugs on those heartstrings.
That's right. Well, to all of our listeners, hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We could care less of who wins. Actually, no, Sean's got a his wife is a huge Eagle fan, so
yes,
it's going to be Fly Eagle Fly on Sunday all day long.
And there are a couple Georgia boys starting that.
That's right. Exactly.
And I think more Georgia are starting on that side than on.
That's right.
Because Miko Hardeman's injured; he's out. So
absolutely, and I'll probably be pulling for the Eagles. Yeah. So, all right. Well, take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy, and you can thank us for this educational lesson that we've given you today. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.